Roblox, a word that I never really expected to start a video with, but important. It has well over 100 million daily active users, and if you log into Roblox right now, you'll find that a lot of the top games dwarf the concurrent users of stuff like Steam. Not to mention stuff like Fortnite at this point. And the Roblox model of having a platform where people create the games and then 85 million people play them is a very enticing one that a lot of people are trying to imitate. And the latest one to jump into the arena and compete is none other than S&box. Developed by Facepunch Studios, the same people behind Gary's Mod and Rust, S&box is not just Steam and technically Valve's competitor to Roblox, but it's also the official way that Valve is allowing people to use Source 2, their engine. And while I already did a video talking about this, what's really impressive about S&box is that Facepunch and Valve have come to an agreement where people using it can develop games using Source 2 and put them up on S&box, but they can also export those games and release them on Steam royalty-free, meaning that S&box isn't just a platform to develop and play games similar to Roblox, but also just a game engine, one that anybody can use to access Source 2 and create video games. And it turns it into a major player in the video game engine space, especially with that whole being free thing. Now, the developing games thing is all fine and dandy. That's really cool, but what about the part of S&box that's a game itself? What about the part of it that's not intended for developers, but instead intended for normal users, people like you and me, to jump into it and then play a ton of the games that people make? How is the experience of S&box, of playing a ton of different games? How good are those games, and how well do they showcase the potential of Source 2 and what developers could use it for? Is S&box something that gives us a glimpse into the future of game development and the sorts of games that we can expect coming out once all developers have access to Source 2, or is it a pretty bad Roblox clone? Well, I've spent the last couple of weeks digging deep into S&box's repertoire of games within the developer preview, and I've dug through some of the worst and some of the best. From absolutely bottom-of-the-barrel Roblox ripoffs that really want to cash in on potentially a new big platform, to people trying authentically original, cool stuff that I would love to see expanded into full video games. And I'm here to share pretty much all of the interesting ones with you. So hi, I'm Mug, and if you're new here, welcome. And if you're not new here, welcome back. It's great to see you, and you are looking fantastic. Don't know if anybody's told you today, but they really should have. You know how it goes. Hit the like button if at any point you enjoy this video. And before we lose ourselves within the multitude of games within S&box, this video has a sponsor, and that sponsor is Heroes of History. Have you ever wanted the long-term satisfaction of a 4X game, but broken down into tiny chunks? Well, boy, do I have a game for you. Heroes of History is the latest strategy town builder where you can build up your civilization through research, strategy, and combat. You'll build up your city, gain resources, and gradually build up and become stronger as you recruit notable personalities from throughout the ages. This is the only game where you can have Joan of Arc and Leonidas team up to fight Tesla in a giant mech. Heroes of History is designed to be laid back and played at your pace, without worrying about getting your city raided while you sleep, and you can play it on mobile or straight on your browser, no need for downloads. And that way you get all the dopamine of seeing your city and your civilization grow, your armies become stronger, but in a format fit for bathroom breaks. From March 11th to April 28th, there is a limited time event set in Egypt, where you can help Cleopatra fend off Anubis with new heroes like Tutankhamun and Nefertiti. Just logging in will get you Tutankhamun completely for free, and he won't be back later, so take advantage of it while you can. And speaking of taking advantage, you might want some extra resources, so make sure to use the QR code or the link in the description below, and then use promo code EMPTY to get the Anubis Awakening Starter Pack, which contains 10 antimatters, 2,000 XP, 20,000 food, and 5 duat keys. And thank you to Heroes of History for sponsoring this video. The first thing you encounter as soon as you jump into S&box is the main menu and the mascot, Terry, or I think it's called Terry, maybe it's called Ludovico, I don't know, man. Some of this menu has already changed with recent patches, but I no longer have access to the developer preview as it's gone down before the official launch. But from here, you can very quickly access the different parts of S&box, and we'll talk about how the organization and especially the search system aren't very good a little bit later. For now, what happens is you can just open the Games tab and end up looking at all of the different stuff available in a menu that seems pretty optimized for touch controls for some reason, like clicking and dragging across the screen, but I don't know. From here, jumping into a game is as simple as it would be on something like Roblox. In this case, you can straight up click on the game and then open it up, and congratulations, you are now playing the game. It takes a minute to download the files necessary. Sometimes they have a custom loading screen, sometimes they don't, and it won't take you very long to be in a game. In this case, the first thing I played was Ghoul Grounds, which was celebrating their new major multiplayer update. And as soon as I loaded in, yep, it's just nach der Untoten. So there you go, it's always the same thing. Now, I don't think it's going to come as a surprise to pretty much anybody that the Source 2 engine is pretty capable when it comes to shooting. I mean, after all, one of Valve's biggest games is, of course, Counter-Strike 2, and the other one is Deadlock. So the concept of shooting and having recoil, aiming down sights, all of that stuff is pretty good, and it works really well here. Ghoul Grounds goes ahead and tries to have a pretty unique art style, and I will say I kind of like it. They say that they're trying to imitate some of the vibe of stuff like Cartoon Network, specifically inspired by Ed, Edd n Eddy, and that speaks to me on a spiritual level, and I do appreciate it. If only the game weren't just Call of Duty Zombies, I think I would like it a lot more. And it just goes to show the potential that Source 2 has to graphically modify a lot of the stuff, give it your own specific flair, and use the very robust tools that are available from the start to craft a pretty competent shooter. And I think that it's a great example that if there's one thing you can expect to find on S&box, it's a ton of pretty competent shooters and eventually a lot of shooters with very good movement in them, because that's some of the strengths of the Source 2 engine, especially when it comes to physics and, being able to surf and all of that stuff that people like. The overall feel for a lot of what Ghoul Grounds is going for was really good. I mean, it is just a very simple proof of concept, but in the end, you can't really ask for more. It's not like this game is made to be played for days upon days, but the idea of what is here and the execution of it is solid enough, and especially what you can do with the art style of your games within Source 2, even very early on here in the development preview of S&box. So overall, kind of charming, enjoyable, and, well, nothing to write home about. It's nice to see that this stuff is already there. Part of me is sad that I'm going to put up some of the best games right at the very start of this video, but the truth is that after playing Ghoul Grounds, I went ahead and played one of the games I was very excited to, one that I had my eye on for a long time, and that was Dark Descent. This felt, right from the start, incredibly original compared to a lot of the other stuff that I had seen on the S&box game tab. Dark Descent is an experimental dungeon crawler focused on melee combat where you have free reign over the direction of your swings, and you slowly upgrade your character by getting new loot, leveling up from taking down enemies, and choose between different skills on an upgrade path, which really does impact how you play the game. While it's lacking content because it's just a demo that's here waiting for us on S&box, the truth is that the concept of the game and where it could go is really damn impressive. And while having a game focused on melee combat isn't precisely new, it's been years since we had Dark Messiah of Might and Magic, just saying. The fact that Dark Descent executes a lot of what it does this well is damn impressive, but it's also one of the first games where I encountered a number of different issues with S&box. The guide for the game, which is a book that you have right here on a pedestal when you start up, wasn't exactly working. All of the text seemed to be overflowing and looked all weird, and I couldn't really read anything and understand the controls of the game, and there was no other way to look at it. There's no menu that when you press escape you can access stuff, which is a feature that I have seen in other games. It's just that Dark Descent doesn't have it. When you press escape, it just goes back to the normal S&box menu and prompts you to leave back to the main tab. This meant that for a while I had to run around like a clueless chicken, and these sorts of graphical bugs regarding stuff like interactions with menus are pretty common, and I'm kind of worried about how that's going to be solved and even what it is that causes them. Regardless, Dark Descent is so good that didn't deter me in the slightest. I carried on and figured out all the different mechanics that the game had and how to position my weapon. And you can see in the center of the screen, there's a reticle with an arrow pointing out of it, which indicates the direction from which you'll swing. You can also press other stuff in order to do stab motions, and all of this while carefully managing your stamina and the invisible block meter that enemies have, similar to your stamina, with a very important parry mechanic involved in order to conserve your stamina to deal damage. It's quite simple in the end. You just run around this dungeon, you take down enemies by reacting to all of their different attacks, and then you get new loot, level up, and carry on. But the fact that fighting is so satisfying to do, that every hit just feels appropriately reactive in the way that it smacks enemies around, means that I would love to see more weapons, more skills, more armor, and more locations in a world like this, especially when paired with maybe some light puzzle solving or some movements like platforming, things like that. I think that the concept for Dark Descent as a dungeon crawler roguelike focused on slow-paced gameplay and precise melee combat is one that could easily translate into a full-fledged Steam release, and I can't wait for that day to come. Next up was potentially one of the most interesting and one of the worst games here, being S&Miner. Now, this might shock you, but this is a game about mining. It's just also an incremental game, kind of like one of those idle clickers, except a bit more active. There are a lot of these types of games on S&box, from a lot of clickers to idle games to combinations of the sort. And don't worry, we will see more of them, and most of them will be worse than S&Miner. The part that I find interesting is that I've delved into the world of Roblox a couple of times. I've thought about making a video very similar to this, but about Roblox, even before S&box was a thing, and I haven't really encountered too many of those sorts of games on Roblox, so I don't know why this is so popular here. Maybe there was just something I was missing. I guess I spent too long fishing or crafting stuff in the forage or whatever, but this is just something that I haven't seen a platform just have this many idle games except S&box. Also, probably because percentage-wise, they make up way too much of it. The core of S&Miner, though, is pretty simple. You jump into a Minecraft pixelated style cube that you can pretty much infinitely dig down into, and everything that you mine you can go and sell. But there are a ton of different mechanics surrounding that to optimize exactly how quickly you mine, what you do with all the resources you mine, and then a ton of different upgrades that you can buy as well. Starting off with changing from your standard pickaxe to a better pickaxe and improving your mining speed, but also being able to take some of the ores that you mine and then put them into a furnace that takes real time in order to smelt the ores so that you can make more money off of them, and you can upgrade that so that it smelts faster, and you can also increase your backpack so you can carry more of each type of ore, making your trips go down lower and lower. And then you're going to have hard breakpoints where you need to upgrade to something stronger in order to cross to the next layer with a whole new suite of ores. And then you repeat this while upgrading and upgrading until everything ends. And there is something just hypnotic about S&Miner. There is a carefully crafted precision of how this game wants to worm itself into your brain and lull you into a sense where you waste hours of your life on it. I want you to listen to it. Listen to the sound effects every time that you mine an ore, the little ding as it changes in pitch and just addicts you slowly but surely. Every single part of the game pushing you towards mining more and more, giving you every programmed hit of dopamine as you chase the next number in your upgrade path. This is distilled madness. This is addiction turned into a video game, a slot machine, in everything but appearance. And as you delve deeper and mine deeper and deeper, you will lose yourself until you no longer recognize who you are. Oh wait, I can buy a new pickaxe. Oh, that's nice. I like this game. S&Miner is simultaneously an affront to video games and also an incredibly well-designed one. Maybe not for the right reasons, though. If you care about incremental idle games and just being able to progress through a loop of some kind, and obviously those games are popular, I think S&Miner is actually really good, and I wouldn't be surprised if it were successful on the Steam store as a standalone game. It's just that the sensation of wasting your time on a game like this, I can't shake it. But I understand that a lot of people really want to have something that empties their brain, put on a podcast, listen to some music, and just chill and enjoy life after a hard day of work. And I guess S&Miner does fulfill that, even if I don't personally find it satisfying. I just find it addictive, and if I want to get addicted to something, I think there's better options out there. But hey, I can't in good faith say that it's badly made, because it isn't. It's pretty good. So I guess that's S&Miner. If you have no idea what an Obby is, I think that I envy you. They are an incredibly popular type of Roblox game that is short for obstacle course. These are games where you take a pretty basic movement controller. In the case of Roblox, I think it's the most universal version of it possible, and then you just jump from one little thing to another. You try and make it to the very end with different checkpoints in case you fall off, and then there are more difficult ones that you can try out, including some that are closer to rage games of the sort that if you ever fall, you have to start all over again. These are incredibly simple, and while they do have a lot of tricks up their sleeve, at least in the case of Roblox, with some weird tech regarding like hooking onto walls or using pixel-wide gaps and stuff like that, the ones that I played here on S&box are just as basic as they come. You just platform across stuff. It's a time waster, and maybe if I were, you know, a young child playing these games, I would find them fun. Maybe they would even blow my mind, although I think I still prefer being me and playing Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I think that was more formative for me than Easy Obby ever could be. But hey, there's some of those here, so I guess that's it. This is... What would a video game platform even be today if it didn't have a survivors-like game? Or bullet heaven, as I like to call them. In the case of S&box, the undeniable champion is Sausage Survivors 2. The interesting part about it is that, from an engine perspective, it shows how capable Source 2 is of just taking this different approach to things. This slightly top-down tilted view that allows you to take your sausage, which is the community term for Terry and the weird monster-looking creations that S&box insists on using, and giving you a gun and letting you just go ahead and kill zombies that are also sausages. It's pretty much like a survivors game, and I've played a lot of these sorts of games. I like them quite a lot. I'm a big fan of many of them all the way since Vampire Survivors took the world by storm. I've enjoyed them. I am a big fan of other stuff as well, like Megabonk, which we will see some Megabonk likes as well. But you know, this sort of tech demo is interesting, but making a really good one of these now is very difficult because there's been tons of them, and you need everything to be firing on all cylinders. And I just feel like Sausage Survivors 2 is impressive because it's on Source 2 and not as a survivors game itself. The problem here being that it's not like there's anything interesting. It's not like the feedback on attacking enemies or killing them is particularly cool, or there are tons and tons of secrets to unlock like in the case of other survivors games. It's just kind of bog standard. It's still impressive because it's on Source 2 and it's on S&box in the early days. It shows what people could do with this engine, again, playing on art styles and stuff like that. So in that regard, kind of cool, but it's a tiny time waster. Nothing that really got me very excited or even had me very impressed with what the engine can do. You would assume that it can do this, and it can, and this is well done enough. Jumper is a test game uploaded by Facepunch themselves, a way of showing the community what S&box is capable of and providing inspiration for people who want to make their own games, and it is essentially 3D Jump King. You play as Terry in a giant brutalist structure, and all you can do is angle yourself and then hold the spacebar to jump higher or lower, depending on just how long you press the spacebar for. You can also slightly angle yourself. Technically, if you just press spacebar, you jump up, so you do have to hold W, but I don't know why you wouldn't. But then again, I didn't really make it very far. This is 100% a rage game. It's designed to make you rage, and every time you fall, it tells you that you're dumb. It taunts you by saying that you're not skilled enough, and the fact that you're playing as the sausage monster here just makes it all the worse. The interesting part about it is that it's not the worst thing, and I can imagine that something made a bit less rage-inducing, a bit more palatable, accessible, could actually find quite a bit of success. And these are the typical games that you find on Steam being sold for $3 or $4 that end up going absolutely viral because some streamer picked them up. And to be honest, Jumper has that quality even as a tech demo, I guess. You do want to climb. It's just not that great of a game, but it does do its purpose. It inspires and shows people just exactly what you can do with S&box, which is pretty much whatever you want, in case you haven't picked up on that, since it is a full-fledged game engine. I wouldn't play more of Jumper, and I don't recommend you to, but it's here, and it's nice that Facepunch has quite a bit of games here that are all intended to inspire future games. Sprain II is the sequel to Sprain, but also more important than that, it is just the Hall of Meat stuff from Skate, but turned into its own game. You control Terry and then you throw him off a place, and your goal is to break as many bones and muscles as possible, and then you make money from that, and then you upgrade him, and then you keep going like that. It's not very different from those old launching stuff games, like I guess there was like one with a penguin and one with some chickens, and there was Burrito Bison. Does anybody remember Burrito Bison? That's a great game. That's not the same vibe, but it's similar in the progression, all right? You throw Terry off the cliff, and then you use different stuff. You can upgrade it. You can get a balloon and like some thrusters in order to throw him further and get a little bit more control, and eventually you break as many things as you can, complete little challenges that the game gives you, and continue doing that. It's completely fine. It's a fun tech demo of like, hey, it's actually calculating force on the limbs and all of that stuff, which is of course one of the cooler things about Source 2 is going to be its ragdolls and throwing ragdolls around, because that's something that people loved in Gmod and they loved about the original Source engine, and there's more of that here. But Sprain 2 is just, it's okay. It's here. That's all I have to say about Sprain 2. No Way Down is intended to be a multiplayer version of Only Up, but using a series of very weird-looking Terrys, each with their own unique abilities, from grappling hooks to double jumps and other stuff. The biggest problem that there is with No Way Down is that it is 100% completely unplayable, and also the closest thing to complete slop and AI-generated slop, while we're at it, on the S&box game store. The game is also very notably French. I don't know why that's relevant, but it is, and it stood out to me. You pick one of the different characters, and then you spawn into a world, and you have to jump up through the nonsensical geometry of a bunch of different assets until you reach the top, but also using your abilities. When I say that the game is unplayable, what I'm trying to say is that none of the controls work in the slightest, and I have no idea how to fix them. It doesn't matter how many times I press the escape key or try and change stuff regarding this game, none of it works. And so, W makes you go left, and S makes you go forward, and I don't even know how to go right, and it's very bad. I did not like it. This is the poster child for me of slop, and the worst kind of slop, because it's slop that's trying to camouflage itself as not being slop, but it's still slop. It's so bad, and I don't recommend you play this. Maybe one day, I wish they would maybe un-AIify the thing and make it less ugly. Just, hey man, there's no shame in making an Only Up clone, because again, that's something people want, it seems. So just throw it out there and let people have fun or something. But obviously, at this point, we've got so many different games that have taken that formula and do it so much better. and those have controls that actually work. So, God, this is bad. Realistic car driving is arguably the most ambitious game on S&box, and I can't believe I'm saying that, but it is true. This is a game that's trying to, and you won't believe it when I tell you, emulate realistic car driving within the Source 2 engine, and it's not bad at it. It feels definitely Source 2-like, but way more like a driving game than, for example, driving the buggy in Half-Life 2 or something like that. The basic premise of this S&box experience that it is, get it S&box, is that you buy a car from the dealership and then you drive around. You can also get out of your car in a slightly GTA-like manner, and that happens, I guess, and you race in different sections of the map or drift and do stuff, and eventually you get more money, and as you get more money, you buy better cars, and then you race through the other maps over and over again. And as far as I can tell, each of the cars handles considerably differently, and it's pretty good. It's fun. It's a very nice time waster, and the progression here, to me, motivates me a lot more than in other games, including those incremental idler ones, because I'm more curious about getting a new car and experimenting and experiencing how it's different from the previous cars than just seeing numbers go up. And I do think it feels pretty good. I mean, it's obviously not something that's going to compete with Forza Horizon 6 or whatever, and there's a ton of problems that go on with it just at the very basic level. Like, it's incredibly annoying with its collision and a lot of stuff that should probably be destructible and allow you to continue driving is not, meaning you can get stuck in some really awkward positions. But there's a very long list of cars of the sort that cost millions upon millions of dollars, and you can eventually get to them and drive them on these maps, and I think there's a lot of potential here to tighten up a lot of the feel of the game, some of the destructible environments, the graphics, all sorts of stuff, and especially to add a ton of maps, probably made by the community, that could be enjoyable. It's never going to compete with pretty much any other racing game out there in its current state. It's not going to beat out BeamNG in going crazy off the road and crashing or anything, but it could definitely end up being a fun little experience. Something that could definitely inspire other developers to make smaller driving games. Even stuff like Art of Rally, that is one of my favorite driving games of recent years. Then that's an indie. I think that this game could inspire other games like that use the Source 2 engine, and it's a great proof of concept that driving is a thing you can do in this. And hey, maybe, don't be afraid, and try it out. You are never going to believe it, but Plinko Clicker is a clicker game about Plinko. You roll down your Plinko balls and eventually you make money, and you use that to upgrade your Plinko and make it drop more balls and colorful balls and all sorts of balls, all rolling down the screen and making money for you. And then you keep doing that, and eventually after about 7 minutes you can prestige, and that's the meta progression of the game, is by prestiging, and you keep clicking on the Plinko balls until you make all the money, and eventually you also can make them go by themselves so that you stop clicking like most clickers, which you don't actually click in most of the clickers, and then you have all these Plinko balls, and it's, oh wow, such an enjoyable thing. It's incredible what the Source 2 physics engine can do. This is definitely the game that proves that the Source 2 engine has the best physics out there. I love Plinko Clicker. Please never play this game. FP4, which I assume stands for Facepunch 4, is another Facepunch-made tech demo. In this case, a vehicle shooter. Kind of like if Descent met Unreal Tournament with some PS2-style graphics to it. You fly around, leaving these neon trails in this slightly cyberpunkish dystopia across 2 maps, and you shoot enemy players until you win in team deathmatch sort of stuff. There weren't any players playing it when I played it, so I played it against bots, and it felt fine. I think it's more an interesting showcase of controls and especially graphics, that you can do the incredibly popular PS1 to PS2 style graphics that people have been using, especially across most of the indie scene. Those are completely doable within S&box, as evidenced by FP4. And It's cool. It looks nice. It controls fine. It's not something I would ever play for more than 15 minutes, but I think that's the point of these demos, is just to showcase what is possible. And hey, this definitely showcases a lot of stuff. So good job on that, Facepunch. Cut Them Down is the inevitable Mega Bonk-like. In this case, set in a dungeon. There's only one level at the moment, and you only have one class, although they do have 2 weapons. You can use a really big sword or a staff. You have very basic abilities, including you can dash, you can swing your sword or do your basic fireball attack, you can whirlwind or leave a flame wall as the sorcerer, and then an ultimate on a cooldown. And then goblins run towards you and you kill them, and it's pretty mindless and not really fleshed out in the slightest. Really, once again, this is just a tech demo, of which the best part is that when you smack them with your sword, everybody ragdolls, and I like ragdolls. Again, that's a very big part of Source 2. This is completely functional, and it does have a long meta progression list that you can do, including stuff that unlocks multiple modifiers that are actually cool for your weapons and for the 2 distinct ones there are, which are not there from the start and definitely don't help with causing a good first impression, because I thought the game was just boring. But no, you just have to unlock the parts where it's fun, although it doesn't take too long, to be fair. But it's nothing special. Definitely not even close to something like Mega Bonk, of course. Maybe a couple of light years away in distance, but it's nice to see that you could do another type of survivors. Like, there's definitely gonna be a lot of those when this releases, don't you worry. Mow the Lawn is yet another incremental game similar to S&Miner, except that in this one you have to mow the lawn. You slowly upgrade all of your different tools, from your shears to your scythe to your lawnmowers, in order to mow more lawn, and you collect money, you upgrade different parts of your character, its run speed, the speed at which you mow, the amount of money you make when mowing, all sorts of stuff, and you unlock new maps in order to make more money with special lawns and things, like skulls, I guess. It is sufficiently addictive, and it has a meta progression that allows you to continue prestiging and unlock different parts of the game and secret elements to it, and it's kind of weird but kind of good. And again, like a lot of these incremental games that there seems to be so many of in Sandbox, I feel like this is something that could easily be successful on the Steam store as its own standalone thing, with a little bit of polish and some other tweaks here and there. I spent longer than I want to admit, probably like 40 to 50 minutes playing this game, and it was fun, but it's just like S&Miner, kind of terrible at the same time. Don't know how else to treat that. I do not know what this game is called. I did at some point, and when I was recording it, I was enjoying it greatly, but I lost access to Sandbox, so I can't go back and check the name of it, which sucks. But this one is pretty good. This is the last game I managed to play before those servers went down, and it's basically Geometry Wars. It looks fantastic, it plays really well, it's punchy, it's got great feedback, really good mechanics, it's got pretty much everything going for it, and really a great showcase of what the Source 2 engine can do in maybe some genres you weren't expecting, like twin-stick shooters and just having really cool art styles to it. Does anybody else miss Geometry Wars? I know a lot of people just said yes. I hope that you don't finish this video and go play some Geometry Wars. Maybe I'll do that. The point is that whatever this game is called is pretty fun. You shoot down stuff, you collect multipliers that the enemies leave behind when they die, and then you can activate the zone to go crazy and shoot a bunch of them. There's some meta progression, some alternative modes, and this is the only game that I played in Sandbox that when you press escape, actually opens an in-game menu that has a little indicator there if you want to go back to the normal Sandbox main hub. So that's cool that all the other ones just open the generic Sandbox menu page that can take you back to the hub and nothing else. So this one is definitely a cut above in production value and graphics and pretty much everything, and it's one of the ones that really showcases what this can do. Not even just what it can do as an engine for people that are going to release their own games out there onto Steam, but maybe even having some high quality experiences within the game of Sandbox itself. Shame I don't know the name though. If anybody knows it, let me know. I'll change the description of this to have it. And those were the 13 games I wanted to show you. I played a lot more of them, from Super Monkey Ball clones that were just a little bit too unfinished to really want to showcase them now, to absolute garbage like what you're watching right now, which is a gladiator battle game with daily logins, which I believe is meant for people to farm S&box cosmetics for the Steam marketplace that are barely anything at all. But these were the 13 ones I thought were worth showing. I think that S&box has an incredible potential to be a nice platform for people to spend some time on, for developers to gather, for ideas to be shared, but exactly how good it's going to be as a product that people can buy for $20 if all you're going to do is play the games that people upload, that's a much more difficult question. Especially considering that you would assume that the best games from S&box are going to end up on the Steam store as independent games, because that's the whole point of allowing people to export them and put them up for sale royalty free. So what is exactly the incentive of playing games through S&box? And I don't think I have the answer, nor does Facepunch, and $20 feels like a steep asking price for a game that is also going to sell cosmetics. If you're looking at it as something that's a video game engine that you're going to use to make money with the creator fund or by making your own full-fledged game, then by all means, $20 is a steal. But for the rest of us, we're just going to log on and see what's going on. The quality isn't very high at the moment, but you never know what could change. You never know if the business model shifts, and you never know if there actually can be a pipeline of Roblox to S&box, and if some of those games, the communities, and the things that happen within it could lead to a boom that, hey, I guess there is a chance that one day S&box is one of those consistent top 10 most played games on Steam. And the interesting part is that all it's gonna take for that to happen is one or two absolute bangers to come out that are gonna have everybody playing it. But right now, definitely not there. For now, though, I hope you enjoyed this look into the Source 2 engine and S&box and what it has on offer, and if you did, make sure to hit the like button. And here, if you're at the end of the video, you like the way that I cover news reviews, essays, and just investigations like this, maybe consider subscribing if you feel I've earned it. An extra special thanks to the members of the wall, be they patrons or members directly here on YouTube, because these are the people that directly support me and everything that I do. And as always, I've been Mug. Go out there, enjoy some great games, maybe not S&box today, and I'll see you again very soon.